Hi, I'm Bunny Cakes and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review for The Dark Tower 4, Wizard and Glass by Stephen King. Um, as I said, this is number 4. It's the 4th book in the Dark Tower series. Um, I really felt like the series picked up in book 3, and this carries it right along. It can be a little confusing in the beginning because the first bit of the first chapter reiterates the end of the last book and then expands on it. So you pick up in the middle of being on Blaine the Mono, and their riddling event with him, and then it moves on to the end of Blaine's track, and they find themselves in a world that's like our world. It's like Kansas, but it's not. And it's actually a really fun Easter egg, and shows the interconnections of the worlds that Stephen King has come up with. And that's actually sort of a key plot point, so watch out for that if you do read it. But most of the book is spent going back to Roland's childhood and his first year as a gunslinger. And so you're introduced to his friends Court and Alan, and you're introduced to his first love, Susan, and you're introduced to some other really intricate and good characters. It seems to take place in an area that's kind of like, I was thinking like Mexico when they were describing it, but at one point, there's actually a reference to Cuba, and it's kind of all loosey-goosey, and you can't really tell. There's some heavy Spanish, Latin influences on the town that this book takes place in. And you really, really get to know Roland better than you think, and you see how Roland sort of became the way he is. It was his first year as a gunslinger that really made him the man he is today, and it also talks about how he got started on the quest to the Dark Tower. So yeah, while Jake and Eddie and Susanna are in the book, they're really bookends for the story of Roland's first year as a gunslinger. And I think it was done really, really well. At a certain point, you almost forget the bookends of the story, and you're sucked into this bubble. And I believe that was the intent, because you kind of get pulled into the Wizard Glass. There's also some awesome Wizard of Oz references in here, like heavy, to the point it's mentioned. Like there's some heavy Wizard of Oz things mentioned, and it's really awesome. And it also kind of sends you on a line of thinking that's like, okay, so our world, the world that I'm currently living in, is also part of one of the worlds that are attached to the Dark Tower, because clearly there we have the Wizard of Oz and things like that. I started to say something that's kind of spoilery, so I'm trying to avoid it. But it was a really good book. I'm not sure that it's my absolute favorite. I still think that the third book so far, The Wastelands, is my absolute favorite, but this one is really up there too. It's definitely a strong number 2, and it's got me looking forward to the rest of the series and the movie that comes out in August. I want to say August 4th, so very soon now. I'm not sure if I'll have this video posted by then. But yeah, it was a really good book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's one the Dark Tower series is one I definitely recommend. You could read this one without reading the rest of the series, but why would you? The first Gunslinger novel is very short, and the other ones I think are all under 400 pages, if I'm not mistaken. This one is a little over, I think it's, yeah, this one is definitely over 400 pages. This one is 668 pages. 672 if you read the afterword, which I did. It was really well done too. You get some insights into Stephen King's mind in the afterword, so I definitely recommend it. I used to skip over things like afterwords and such, but I've found a new love for them recently in reading a few afterwords and some books that I've come across lately. So, once again, I recommend this book highly. I recommend the series strongly. You probably don't have a whole lot of time now to read it before the movie comes out, but that's what I'm trying to do is get through this series of 8 books before I watch the movie. Um, Probably not going to make it all the way through before the movie comes out, but I don't typically watch movies when they come out, like their first couple of weeks. So I should be fine on that regard. Um, but yeah, great book, great series. I highly recommend it. That's all I have for this review, and keep reading.